Hello and welcome back to On the Workbench. Today we're taking a look at this 12-volt professional grade backup sump pump system from Barracuda Pumps. This was actually, I don't want to say purchased, but it received as a warranty exchange for the battery backup system failing on the kit that I had before, and I knew that it failed because the pump was actually not activating even with direct 12 volts of current or electricity. And so the folks at Menards set me up with a replacement for just the parts. Had to bring in the parts that weren't bad, with the exception of the plastic PVC pipe, and they was able to swap me out for this. This is a slightly different updated version on what's on the controller on the battery, and I'll show you what you get in the box. And so here we've got our owner's manual. Set that aside. We want to save that with our receipt for later. We've got cardboard packaging as usual. And then it looks like everything else is going to be contained here inside the pack. So let me turn this around. And so what we've got here, we can see this is a newer control module here. Looks like the same switch configuration, but there's a digital readout here of volts, percent, some extra reset and test functions, which is nice. Where then you can press the charge. You got some reset and some test functions here in the controller. It looks like an updated design. And then in the back, the fuse here, instead of being a cartridge style fuse, is now a automotive type fuse, if you will. And this is it's like a 20 amp fuse right there. So that's actually going to be much easier to replace than that cartridge style fuse that we had before. And then we have another, what do we got here? This is the I guess the AC-DC adapter here to be able to have the float charger with it as well. So we got a few more electronics here actually in the case here. I believe this is basically revision 3 of this to actually have the integrated display. So like that, hopefully that works and doesn't actually add any additional complexity to it. We've got mounting hardware, some battery clips, and a power cable. Then we've got our PVC fittings here that you saw on the box. These do not come pre-glued together. We've got a check valve. We've got a no hub assembly. We've got another piece of PVC for the connection. We have our pump. Now this is actually a slightly different design than before. It has some extra screens on it. And looks like this can sit right on the bottom. So hopefully this 12 volt one will work well into the future. That would be my hope. Obviously the other one did not. And then we've got our float switch and our plug-in cable. This will actually need to plug in to the top of our battery box. And there should be a stem that connects this together, obviously. Let's check for that in the box here. Oh, there we go. Here it is. We'll have to connect that, it looks like, to be able to make the float switch work. We got some zip ties and some battery clamps. We're not going to need the battery clamps here. And we should be good. So now we just have to assemble this. I'm going to set some of the stuff aside because I've got a lot of the stuff already in my assembly. And I don't actually need for my configuration. So a couple of things I like about this setup here is this actual flip switch here is the up-down toggle switch as opposed to that little buoyant buoy that flops up and down. Those can get stuck. I just don't like those. I like this. These are clean and easy and they don't require any extra problems for trying to get those activated. If you need to do a manual activation, it won't get stuck on the side of your pit wall. So I think that's great. I'm going to assemble this here. It's pretty self-explanatory for what you need. I'm going to have a few things that different because like I said, this is a warranty replacement for my other assembly. So I've got a lot of other Barracuda parts already in my pit. So a couple little bits here on assembling of this float switch. There's a little plastic pin in the bag here you've got to snap through this to be able to hold this in place. Make sure you get the magnet going in the right direction to activate the switch. And then there's a rubber bit at the bottom. Make sure you go at least to the bottom barb. And then you can use this to push this up through and control the travel on this float. Now remember, to deactivate this is going to have to be able to drop all the way down to be able to push. It is gravity effective, so if I push this up, And watch as I drop the buoy down. It's not deactivating it yet until the buoy actually pulls on that little rubber stop there with gravity. So that's important that you get this rubber stop here on and at a right point, because that's what is what is what is going to turn off your pump. So make sure you have that on there, and make sure you don't set that too low. That causes your pump to run dry, because that'll also destroy your pump. Okay, now with the battery in the box, this does take a Group 27 size battery. You can also go down a size if you want. And so one of the first things I notice here is this LCD readout is, it's barely visible in red. Maybe you can see it on camera. It shows 12.7 volts for the battery. Hit the percent button there, it shows 85%. You've got a silence button here to have the alarm on or on silent. I wish it would actually give me some sort of a notification that this was on the silent. It's warning that it's not connected to the power with that red light there. I need to plug it actually into the wall for the trickle charger to actually be able to maintain it. Battery's okay, no problem there. I like the fact that it gives me a fuse notification. You gotta take the cover off here, but the fact that it's an automotive fuse as opposed to a ceramic tube fuse, definitely a good update on that design. And we also have a test button here. I'm not going to press that because the pump is not plugged in. Pump goes here, float switch goes here, and that's it. One other feature on this that I think is very undocumented and not well advertised is there are 3 terminals on the side over here. There's a common, a normally closed, and normally open. You see I got a white wire going here to an extra monitoring sensor. So this you can trigger like a home automation system or other alarm system that if this pump activates it, you can get otherwise notified that something's going on with that extra circuit in place there. So I think that's actually a nice little update. In this case here, I got this connected to my Insteon system, so then my Insteon can send me an alert to my cell phone in the event that that gets activated. So if I'm not home at the time, I can also get an alert via my Insteon system that something happened, that's going on. Now, obviously, that depends on the Insteon system being up, and in some power outage cases, that also could be a point of failure. But my Insteon and my modem and my wireless access are on a UPS, so hopefully I would be able to get access to that immediately when that happens, at least the first time that happens in the event of a power outage. And so that's it. Hope you found this video useful and interesting about this Barracuda sump pump, and have a great day. Bye.